So welcome to the Roaring Girls podcast live, which is very, very exciting and a new venture for us. My name's Rachel.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Shauna.
And this week's podcast is all about school. Now, to promote this podcast, there have been some truly, I was going to say excellent, but they're absolutely horrific photos of us.
Excellent is the correct verb.
I think we all look great.
Lizzie, you look like a 30-year-old solicitor in 1984. It is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
See, I look. I don't care what you think. I think I look fine. I think I just look. It's a weird hair. It's not a flattering haircut, but I look fine.
We didn't say you didn't.
Exactly. I definitely think there's a point, kind of like when you're like pre-teen, very early teen, where you all of a sudden take on the style of a 40-year-old woman. Because I know I did that. Like, there was definitely a point where I had a lanyard with a photo on it, and I could have been 13, I could have been 40.
Why did you have a lanyard with a photo on it?
I know it's part of the Leeds Youth Council.
Oh, it was for something. I thought you were saying you wore a lanyard with a photo of yourself as a fashion statement.
I was very ahead of my time, thank you.
Like, well, yeah, you would look like you were at some sort of conference if you did that. I understand. The picture of you looked... I totally misunderstood.
Oh my word. Oh my word.
Although, no, I was not surprised that you would have worn a lanyard as a necklace.
Oh, I'm definitely that kind of girl who would make her own lanyard. Just be like, I'm official, thank you.
I will say that I had a phone call with my sister, who was very impressed with Sarah Penny's hair and the fringe in that picture that she shared.
Thank
if you
you.
haven't seen it, it's worth finding one of our socials and finding the image. It's an amazing fringe. My sister was like, she'd like one now that looked like that.
So basically, that was around the time I was around 15, and I'd just gone from my emo phase into my chav phase. And so what I decided to take with me was the fringe. So instead of having like dark black sort of hair, snake bite lip piercings and the whole shebang that I had before, now I had like false nails and an orange tan, and then just kept the emo fringe so I could still like, you know, I could still sing to My Chemical Romance and feel like I belonged, but also go and drink vodka in the park. Do you know what I mean?
It was also like because I had the fringe as well. It was a huge comfort thing to go like this every now and then.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the fringe.
Just kind of like, you kind of like shimmied it down the forehead, didn't you?
Yeah, I feel like a description might be needed for people that are just listening to
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It's like,
I forgot.
It starts like pretty much like at the temple of the head and just swoops around for absolutely no rhyme or reason.
It almost changes the shape of your head. Like it looks...
Oh yeah, and then you have to backcomb it as well, so you end up with like a bump.
Yes. Although I was really proud of my fringe, because my sister Emma is 2 years younger than me, and she had a cow's lick, so she couldn't get the swoopy fringe because she just had a little flip on the top of her head that would stop her fringe lying flat. So if anything, I sort of had it out of spite in the end.
Classic big sister.
Classic.
I'm absolutely with your sister on this. I've got a cow's lick, and I had
It's a
full
nightmare
fringe for quite a while, and that was a nightmare to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
The point where because my hair is naturally curly, I had the fringe, and by the end of the day, either side of the fringe would curl out into horns. And my German teacher did a little award ceremony at the end of the school trip and gave me the award for Horny Devil.
What?
Oh my God.
Because my hair kept flicking out. I would like to point out that Miss Critchley is a saint, and I will not have a single word said against her.
I love that.
I mean, she could have reviewed the phrasing of that.
She knew exactly what she was doing. She's an absolute lad. She's also not called Miss Critchley anymore. She's married. I don't know what she's called now.
Great story.
Fun fact for all the family.
You know what? I don't think I received a single award or recognition at school. I was just thinking about that.
Oh, I'm the other way around.
Oh, Rachel, why does that not surprise me?
Like, to the point where it got embarrassing one year. Like I was in I think it was like year 11 or maybe year 12, and I won the drama award. I then won an award for being part of a peer support, like mental health scheme. Then they made an award up for me because I basically set up the school council with a mate, and I was like the chair of the Leeds Youth Council, so I was the first community award winner, and then I won the raffle.
Honestly, that's the one I'm most proud of you for.
Oh my God.
And one of my teachers, Mr. Moss, let out an audible sigh when I won. He was just like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Ah."
I didn't win anything. Shauna, did you win any awards at school? Oh, look at her nodding. Of course she did.
Oh yeah. So we had celebration of achievement once a term, and I was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Generally for like music and drama. And then I think at the end of school, I think I won the big drama award. I can't remember.
Ooh, get you.
I can't remember. But yeah, no, I was always at the celebrations, me.
Oh, see, I think that I was like put up for awards and things, but I just never won them. And even now, actually, do you know what? I've just had like a moment of, I've had an epiphany, because I never win on a scratch card either. So I just think my life is set up to fail. So every time I get a scratch card, I never win. Not even a pound, not even my money back, right? Anyone who's with me will win. Do you know, like, again, so I have this thing, I'm sorry, I'm like going back now, I'm like regressing to childhood. I've told you girls, every single one of my exes, the next person they've gotten with, they've got married to or had a child with, without fail, every single ex so far. And then anyone I'm with who buys a scratch card with me wins. So maybe I'm just set up to fail.
I think you might be seeing patterns when none exist. I'm going to say that not winning scratch cards, I mean, look, I'm not advocating let's all go spend all our money on scratch cards, but I'm going to say not winning the scratch cards, the lesson from that is not, I lose at everything. My life is worthless.
My life is damned.
And also, all your exes then got married to the next people. Mate, I say that's a lucky escape.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Oh, gosh.
Change of perspective, Sarah.
Do you know, I wasn't expecting to have this realisation tonight.
Podcast, man. What a dream.
The Roaring Girls
Taking us
therapy.
all into a new plane of existence. What a dream. I imagine that you were quite naughty at school, Sarah.
I have zero idea what you're talking about. No, I don't. Honestly, actually, I was pretty good. I was, well, depends what year you're looking at. When I was in primary school, I was really good. Secondary school is where things started to shift, but I was described by a teacher once as cheeky but charming. But then, one of my teachers, Dr. McDowell, biology teacher, wrote in my end of year book, "Remember, Sarah, eagles may soar, but weasels don't get sucked into jet engines." And I was just like, "Thank you, sir." And then I just left. And when I look through the messages from my teachers now, I'm like, oh, one of my other teachers, Mr. Power, wrote in my yearbook, "Loved your performance, Sarah," in my GCSE drama. Hope to see you performing again soon. Hopefully not on a street corner.
Wow.
So I was just like, I thought he was on about busking and that, and I was like, oh well, you never know, sir. You never know.
Corner. That would be busking.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Better, I went back for, like, they always do like an awards night, like in the November after you've left school and like nearly everyone's at uni and they all come back. It's real nice. My French teacher literally turned around to me and went, "Oh, so you're doing that degree in drama?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Ah, so you're going to end up a stripper?" Oh! And I have used that energy to propel my career forward ever since.
And it's working.
11 years since you said that to me, and I will continue
To strip.
I will continue to not be a stripper because of him. Otherwise, I'll be a stripper very quickly.
Mate, if you choose to strip, I don't, you know.
I think I'd be a good stripper. That's a very different podcast.
Judgy against this podcast is about school, but I feel like a lot of these teachers should not been giving advice to young people. If their advice was, you're a weasel and you'll be a stripper.
Yeah.
And that just sums up me and Rachel.
Yeah. The Weasel and the Stripper, the new show by the Roaring
A heartwarming tale.
Oh, God.
Oh, amazing.
Shauna, were you a good little girl at school?
Annoyingly, yes.
Yeah, I could see that. I thought so.
I was so, like, followed every single rule. And then I remember I think I got sent out of class once for talking because this boy kept talking to me and I kept telling him to shut up. But then I got sent out of class and I've never been more anxious in my entire life than being sent out of geography in year 9.
Mate.
But, you know, I was very much sit down and do my work.
Did you ever have a detention?
Yes, because I was late.
Oh, Shauna.
But it's because I had to get 2 buses to get to school. Because I went to school on the other side of Peterborough. I had to get a bus into town and then a bus from town to school. So if that bus was late, I was late. And it was public transport as well, so I couldn't even rely on a school bus. So yeah, I still don't take responsibility for it.
I love you. Like, I had a detention, but it was a technicality.
Yeah. It was an after school one as well, so it was quite a big one.
Oh, that is a big one for being late.
I was late 3 times within 2 weeks or something. I can't remember.
Did you ever have a detention?
Yeah, I had a few detentions.
Oh, really?
I don't remember the details. It was a long time ago. I don't think I ever had an after-school detention because I was a good girl.
Of course you
I was a little studious little bean. But I definitely had a few detentions, but nothing like significant. There weren't like black spots by my name.
I had a morning break detention once in year 3, and that was it.
In year 3?
What did you do? Not tie your shoes?
Because the girls on my table were passing notes.
Oh.
I was on that table.
How dare you?
I wasn't passing notes because I am a good girl.
Oh, passing notes was key.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sorry. Alex Brooke has just said, did your schools have litter picking?
Do you know what? This is literally what I was about to say, Alex Brooke. I was about to say, the thing I remember is I never had to litter pick because that was the thing. Because if you had, like, there were like levels of detention, obviously, but like if you got like a main like lunchtime detention, which were 8-14s because that was the room that they were in, but then often you have to go and litter pick on your detention, and I never had to do litter picking because that was the bit I think that felt, that's where you'd feel the shame of detention, sitting in a room, especially when you were like really self-righteous like me and like Shauna evidently, and you're like, well, it's not my fault that I'm doing it.
Exactly.
Then, you know, but yeah, litter picking.
Is this the house you said, did you never have an A15?
I did have an A15, but I didn't litter pick.
What's an A15?
That was the name of the lunchtime detention.
Oh.
Because like a small detention would be like your class teacher holding you back, or like a subject like detention. But like if you got like a main lunchtime detention, you all went to the same room, and if you were naughty, you had to do litter picking. And I did have an A15 that obviously, if my parents are listening, I never did. But I didn't have to do litter picking. Like it was, I don't know how we got out of it. They didn't do litter picking that day.
I would like to point out that Alex was like, people just used to put the grabbers in the bins and fill them up with that. Genius. Honestly, like, don't work harder, work smarter.
Exactly that.
Amazing.
Oh God, yeah. I think. Do you think we'd have been friends at school?
That big silence was really bad.
I think me and Rachel would.
Yeah.
Because I think we'd be the drama geeks in the drama club.
I think we all went to very different schools.
Yeah.
I think theoretically I would have been friends with you guys, but I don't know, because I think I certainly wasn't doing like school council stuff like you,
I
but
was like doing a ridiculous amount at school.
I was definitely in that bracket of like try hard,
Yeah.
like do all the good things.
To the point where another girl called Rachel was the chair of the sixth form committee, and the teachers used to come up to me and be like, "Oh, Rachel, you need to put this on the agenda." And I was like, "No, it's not me." And they were like, "What?" Not me, it's the other Rachel. And they're like, they just kind of like walk off, like looking really confused. But yeah,
And this is why Rachel has an overinflated sense of self-importance.
yeah.
Oh, I was just, I don't know. I wasn't like, I was one of those people that I was about to go, I was a floater, which sounds horrible. But I sort of was friends with everybody, I guess. And I sort of wandered around a bit, and you know, everybody would know me enough to say hello to and that sort of
So
thing.
you're popular, that's what you're saying.
No, I wasn't. No, I definitely, no,
Hey,
Christ,
if everyone knows you, that's you're popular.
I'm not popular. The popular girls go, I'm not popular.
No, I wasn't. I remember the popular girls very, very well because I wanted to look like them. And they, yeah, oh, interesting. But no, I was sort of friends with everybody. I mean, the only thing with me is, I was like,
you're friends with everybody. That's like the definition of being popular.
no, I wasn't. You could ask anybody I was in school with and they'd go, Sarah, popular, lol. No, I was just weird. I was like weird. And I think most people spoke to me just because it was like, oh, speak to her because bless her. That's how I think. And I still think that's how people are with adult me. People are like, oh, Sarah, yeah, let's just talk to her. Bless her.
Yeah, our school year felt very much like divided in half of like the two types of like people, as it were. There were definitely people that kind of like floated in between, but there was definitely like a alternative, creative group, and then like a popular, beautiful people group.
Yeah.
The beautiful people.
The beautiful people. And it's really like, I find it really interesting, like watching people grow up on Facebook, like knowing them at school, and like, do not get me wrong, I think nearly every single girl in my school had the classic like blonde on top, like highlights that is dark underneath, like Dream Matte Mousse foundation.
Yes, Jane Norman
mascara,
bag.
Nothing on the eyebrows. What a dream. And a bit of like Vaseline on your lips. That was the look that everybody went for. But if you're alternative, you wore eyeliner. Ooh. Or if you were me, I genuinely for probably 3 years solid wore the same eyeshadow every single day to school, which was a frosted purple.
I was going to say, was it blue or something around that colour? Because that was like real popular. Yeah.
Classic.
That's great.
Classic. What was your school uniform like, Sarah?
It was like a blue jumper with the logo on, and then a white shirt and a blue and yellow tie, and then black trousers. Nothing exciting.
Sean, what about you?
Mine was so exciting. So to begin with, anyway, because our school went through like a whole transformation, like halfway through my time there. Basically, it got put in special measures. So they tried everything they could. So changing the tie was obviously one of the things they did.
Of course.
But when I first started, so like year 7 to year 9, I think, it was like, you know, the busted tie, like the red and black stripy tie that they wore in What I Go to School For.
Yeah.
It was that. And because it had no logo on it, people used to wear it like that thick.
Like really short and
yeah. But we had to wear like our blazers all the time. And we didn't really have like jumpers or anything, but it was like blazers all the time. But we used to walk around like holding them in front of us. It was so strange.
I found a blazer really useful because it had loads of pockets to keep stuff in it. Like I like the side pocket of my blazer fit a CD Walkman in perfectly.
And then you put the headphones through the sleeve.
Yeah, and then the other side,
like that.
you have a little pack of CDs so that you can change out your music.
Yeah.
You the other Walkman. It's like just the full shebang ready to go.
Yeah, some of us didn't have iPods. Our uniform, I like it did look really smart. Like looking back on it, it looked great. I hated it we had to wear kilts. We had tartan skirts, kilts, and I hated it. It was so horrible. And we weren't allowed to wear trousers. And it was always a battle. And there was always a point in the year where like the year 8s learned about suffrage, and they'd like be like, we demand trousers, in that voice. And then and the school was always like, well, you know, if you wear trousers, you'll have to wear a tie. To which most of us were like, fine. Cool. And then so they brought in trousers like the year I left. They brought in trousers, but they brought in special trousers, so you had to wear the branded ones, but you didn't wear fashion trousers, because that would be horrific and would definitely impact your schooling if you wore fashionable trousers. But we cut tartan kilts, dress Mackenzie tartan, and you would roll it up as high as you could without getting caught, and then white shirts, black blazers. It was do you know what? We looked quite smart, but I did not enjoy it.
That's fair. You see, when I turned up in year 7, we had like proper jumper, tie, shirt, trousers. And then at the end of first year, they're like, we're changing the uniform. And everyone went, what? We've just bought all this uniform. And they're like, yeah, sorry, bye. And they're like, you're now on sweatshirts and polo t-shirts. And then when we got into sixth form, they changed the uniform back to shirt and tie. And by sixth form, you could wear whatever you wanted anyway. So they're like, fine, sod it, we're doing it. But yeah, everyone did the tiny little tie thing.
Yeah, and like it was, if you were on the rugby team in our school, we got a different tie, and that was when you knew that you were cool. Like the lads that were cool, because they were on the rugby team, so they got a different tie, and that was cool. And then you try and make it as short and fat as you could.
Yeah, treat yourself.
We didn't even have polo tops in primary school. Like in primary school, we were in ties.
What?
No.
Yeah.
You go to Catholic primary school as well?
You betcha, Catholic school. Woo-woo.
I went to Church of England school and that junior school, and that was
No.
Yeah, but you know, the Catholics are more
yeah,
they're more into the rules.
Tie.
Like CV is like,
we didn't have to wear ties in summer.
oh, that was
We got to wear summer dresses.
Nice. Oh, I did in primary, like the red and white checkered ones.
Yes, yeah.
With the little red cardigan with the frill.
But you'd have to put like shorts underneath when you do your handstands at break time.
I mean, classic, of course. Yeah. See, mine wasn't with the school I went to when I was in primary school, Mynachlog Neve, obviously Welsh, Neath Monastery.
I would have thought that was in.
I'm so shocked. I thought I was in Stoke.
Yeah. I went to school in Scandinavia. No, but I went, and there was a church next door, and the church was really lovely. We used to have a Christingle service, and there are some people who remember this and some people who never know what I'm talking about. And you had an orange with a candle in, and you used to stick licorice all sorts in, and then you used to walk through the church and celebrate Jesus or something. But this churchyard was really weird because it attached to our school field. And one day there was a man in a lab coat watching us all.
What?
Yeah. It was really creepy.
In some like facility.
Yeah, and rumour had it he had a gun. But I think that was just playground hijinks. I don't think he had a gun. But he had a lab coat on, and we were all looking at him out of the windows, but they literally shut down the whole school and like bolted all the doors and everything because he was just watching all of the children. Yeah.
Very weird.
It was an interesting school.
Very weird. What I really love is that the Christingle thing that you were like, it's about Jesus or something. I love how much of that seeped in, obviously.
I mean, loads of it, yeah. But did you guys have the oranges with the candle and the licorice all sorts?
We did put licorice all sorts in them, but you put like cloves and like smelly stuff in that Christingle.
We had cocktail sticks with licorice all sorts all pierced through, and a live candle. None of this electric nonsense you get today. Let's just give 7-year-olds cocktail sticks and flaming oranges and let them walk one behind the other with all their hair hanging down.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just had candles that we used to walk around with, which had like a little paper wax catcher.
Oh my gosh, your school was so much smarter than mine.
Got the wax stripping. Is that what you're trying to mime?
That's it, yeah. Circle.
We've got some people, like Rachel said licorice all sorts, and then Emily has said raisins. They used to have raisins in theirs. There you go. Memories.
Emily, I'm sorry. I went to school with Emily. Raisins. We never had raisins. What are you on about? It was jelly tots.
Was it?
All right, well, she might have gone to a different Christingle service without you.
No, she goes to everywhere with me. I met her in year 5 and we've not been apart since.
Oh.
Only because I vividly remember walking into the staff room because I was the chosen one as the big strong girl to go collect things. And they gave us just kilograms of jelly tots for Christingle.
Oh.
It was not racist, Emily. I will fight you on this.
You know what, guys? I don't think it's important. I don't think the message of the Christingle is let's fight over what you stick in a
No, that's exactly what it's about.
It's what Jesus would have wanted.
So Katie Atkins asked, did you get separated according to what language you did?
We only did one.
We had different language classes. We weren't doing French and German in the same class, if that's what you mean.
But we one half of the year for us got taught French and the other half got taught German. And it was only till at year 9 you were allowed to pick up the other one.
So we were the opposite way around. We did both up until year 9, and then we did GCSEs to pick one or the other. Or if you were good at languages, you got to do both.
Yeah.
We just had French, and then for a bit we had Polish, but that didn't last very long. She wasn't a great teacher, and everyone just got her to say swear words, but she would never say the swear word in English. She would just write it on the board.
She's my kind of teacher.
You're allowed to do that. You can't swear in front of the children. You can write them down.
Yeah, but no, we only ever, French was really the only language at my school.
See, we had Welsh, obviously. Welsh is compulsory to learn until your GCSE, so you have to do a Welsh GCSE. So we did Welsh, and then I did French. I did French in school. And I think there was Spanish at one point, but I didn't take that. But we weren't separated, I don't think.
I also very briefly did Latin. Cambridge Latin course come at me, Grumio est coccus.
So did I, with Caecilius.
Yes. I quit. That was a year I think where I just got fed up and was like, I quit everything because I but I did it for a little while and then but you had to do it outside of school hours.
Yes. So it used to be on a Monday night, and I used to do it, and then they did a play that rehearsed on a Monday night, so I had to choose, was it Latin or drama?
Oh my God,
drama.
You two had a very different schooling system to me.
Also, our schools are very different as well.
God, Latin.
But yeah, it's because we had classics, on our thing. So people who really liked classics, they did a bit of Latin.
Oh, very nice.
I did French and German until A-level, just because I chose to do them both for GCSE because I knew you got a school trip out of it. And then I got to A-level and I was like, well, I've got this far, I might as well. So I just did French and German to A-level. Keith Fish said that they did Russian at his school.
Interesting.
I would love to. I tried to learn Russian over Duolingo during lockdown 1 and it didn't go well.
How many languages were you trying to learn though? Yeah, I feel like maybe that was the problem.
Well, 2 of them were French and German. I was like, I've done it up to A-level, just a refresher. And then I tried to learn Welsh. And the only thing I remember is Dwi hockey coffee.
Yeah, I like coffee. Classic Welsh phrase.
In Russian, all I remember is niet, which is no.
I'll be honest, I could say niet, and I've never done Duolingo.
And the other one was velosiped, which is bicycle.
Nice.
So you're all set for your trip to Moscow?
Yeah.
My boyfriend's mum was learning Welsh. Susan, I think Susan's watching. Hi, Susan. She was learning Welsh. And so when she used to come over to the house, she'd practice things with me. And one of the first things they taught her on Duolingo was draig dwi, which means I am a dragon.
Yeah.
Is that not how Welsh people greet each other? Is that like the secret code so you know that you're among Welsh friends?
We just always know. You just say "draig dwi," and they're like, there we go. And we just know we have that instant connection. Either that, or you present a leek in a glass box, and then that's like an exchange. Yeah, Welsh culture. Susan said, "It's true. Thank you." Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. But I was trying all sorts of things on Duolingo. But when I was in school, I used to love French. I really enjoyed French at school. And I still remember now the days of the week and the months of the year because they taught it to me via song. And I've never needed it, but it's good to know if I ever do. I've got it.
Janvier, février, mars. Janvier, février, mars.
No, we didn't learn that one. We didn't learn it. It wasn't that tune. It was a different tune.
We watched in German class Hallo Aufstellen, the greatest German videos to not actually spend time in class doing proper learning.
Nice. When we got to A level, we had to watch. I've forgotten the name of the film like immediately, so well done me. But watching like films in another language and then actually being able to go, oh, I understand what's happening, feels kind of magic.
Yeah.
When I did the French exchange, I remember getting to a point near the end where I was thinking in French, which is great because it meant that I wasn't having to translate things in my head. But it also meant what I was thinking was incredibly limited because my French wasn't that good. So I was thinking in French, but I was thinking incredibly simplistic.
Oh, see, the songs we used to have were in science. My biology teacher, Dr. McDowell, the whole weasels, jet engines thing that I mentioned, he used to play 2 songs. The first one was on photosynthesis, and it was every plant can do this fundamental process, and we can call this photosynthesis. And it was like a whole like thing. And then he used to play the other one, which I actually don't think had any educational value, but was an absolute banger, which was badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom, badger, 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 badger. And I think it was like to keep our attention.
Old, like viral song.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was great. I love Dr. McDowell.
I love that he taught you a song and then just showed you memes. Like,
I remember having a science class where we were shown an episode of, is it Look Around You? Which is like a parody, like science class, like TV show. So like it's all jokes, it's not real, but it's presented very deadpan, like a really dry science class. And he showed it in our science class and we all sat there, not because it hadn't been presented as a bit of jokes. We were presented as we're going to watch a film today. We all expected it to be real, and it was bizarre. And I don't think I realised it was a joke, like a parody. It's supposed to be funny until like years later when I was like, suddenly that class makes so much sense.
Yeah, Dr. McDowell, he also, I mean, not only did he play badger, 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 mushroom, but he also, we were working with ethanol for something, I don't know what it was, but basically in order to prove how flammable ethanol was, he got one of the boys who was a bit of a knob in the class to get up on a table, poured ethanol all around him and set it alight, and he was in a fire circle.
I'm sorry, did you go to school in Coyote Ugly?
I think I did.
What?
It's why he was my favourite teacher.
Oh my god! See, when I was at school and we did all like the experiments and things like that, one of my best friends, Jack, took it upon himself to taste every experiment.
Oh God!
And I will never forget him just drinking copper sulfate because he was like, I just want to see what it's like, and I was like, I mean, he's like got a really well-paid job and he's married and
he's got an inquisitive mind.
He's very successful. Right. And look where I am, so maybe I should have been drinking the copper sulfate. But I was just like, we got in so much trouble for it. But he was just like, I just want to see what it's like. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
That one frog dissection class you had was a nightmare.
Oh yeah, that was like a rite of passage though to dissect something.
We didn't do it.
Did you not? We had to dissect fish.
Nothing.
We had to dissect chicken legs.
No, you were just at KFC.
Oh,
sorry.
And and pull the tendons, and I started making it do the can-can. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh God.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, some of the experiments we did. Ugh.
I do really feel for like the kids who've had to be at school like during the pandemic, like lockdown school, like homeschooling, like or Zoom school, like that. I like that must be really, really difficult. Like I feel for the teachers, I feel for the parents, but like I think like for the kids it must be so disruptive. And like because a huge part of school was I lived villages away from my mates. Like yeah, I liked school because I was like nerdy goody two shoes, but like I liked school because that's where my friends were. Like that was where I got to see people, and like I think it must be so isolating to not have that, to not have the ability to just go and like sit next to your mate in class or like hang around like by the music block and chat in between classes.
And
like
yeah,
that's such a big part of your childhood.
To be like your own person,
Yeah.
like be away from your parents, your guardians, like other siblings, and just be you for a bit. Like they're already talking about like the mental health crisis that is just building up from schools being closed for so long now that they're back, and it's all very different, and they're having to do bubbles with like 300 people in a bubble, and like it's just mad.
And even like schools being open, like have opened in very it's not normal. Like you can't go back to sort of normality, which I totally understand. And I'm not advocating for less bundling in the hallways, but like it must be so weird. And like I really feel for like the whole like exam sort of glory, like with the results and the people not being able to sit exams and things. So I think it's such a stressful time, and I think like I know from like going through it and like all my friends, like it's real stressful doing your GCSEs and your A levels, but also from like having like taught kids like doing like drama stuff in schools or like youth theatre stuff, the stress and the pressure that like teenagers are under. Like I honestly think that like mental health wise and like stress levels wise, like GCSEs is one of the roughest times like ever, because also you're a teenager and you're going through all that delightful hormonal stuff and like societal peer pressure. And so, like the idea of like it being so uncertain and being like not having worked so hard towards something that's then not realized, I think is so crap. Like I really feel for him.
Like when I did my A levels, like I was in a really bad place like mentally at that time, and I often wonder like they're talking about taking the like the work of the whole year rather than exams to grade people. I don't know, like for some people that's a good thing and some people that's a bad thing. For me it'd probably been a good thing because I basically went into crisis, and that was that, and I didn't do as kind of as well as I hoped I would. So being marked like throughout the year would have been actually really useful. But for some people going into that, they're going to take every day as an exam, and that a year's worth of exams messes up your mental health like nothing else will.
Yeah, and I think it's also really, really tricky to, you get a lot of people say to young people, oh, don't worry, your GCSEs won't matter, or it doesn't, like for me personally, in all the employment I've had, I've never once been asked what GCSEs I'd had. But obviously at that time in your life, it is the biggest thing you're going to do to date. And for an adult to stand there and say, oh, it won't matter, like that's not helpful, and it's not good enough, because it doesn't take away how anxious, how isolating, how worried young people can feel around exams. And I do think that obviously, I mean, it's gutting for the young people who've worked so hard to get to the point to do their GCSEs. But I think that it's a little bit of a relief that they are being cancelled, or in Wales, they're being cancelled. And I just think that's going to give people a chance to catch up on their education and a chance to, I mean, the pandemic has affected young people in so many ways, like you were saying about, being socially isolated from all of your friends and all of those things as well. I think it's about time everybody took a breather, including teenagers.
And I think it's good that they've announced it now rather than, I mean, obviously last time it was because I've been kicked off just before exam season, and you know, young people have been building up to those exams for the entire year, and then just have it taken away so quickly is devastating for them. But at least it's kind of, they know that, like the young people in Wales now know, look, this isn't happening this year.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to have some guidance on what's happening.
And it also gives them a chance to get it, like the system working properly, because obviously like this year there were so many people who were given grades or whatever that just weren't fair from their previous work. So I think now that they've announced it now, it gives them so much time to really get like their system sorted so that that doesn't happen again, because I can imagine that wasn't easy for like hundreds of, if not thousands of young people.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, what a world.
The management of it, and this is the government can, am I allowed to swear? Bugger off. Like in terms of like the teachers and the schools who are like trying to make lessons work in sort of socially distanced ways and make school sort of work. I think they've got a massive job ahead of them. Like even just doing like school over Zoom, to be able to, like, it's really fatiguing to sit in front of a screen all day.
Oh God, yeah.
And you're reliant on being able to have decent internet and all those things, which a lot of households don't have.
And let's be honest, this whole pandemic has really proven that strong internet connections should be a right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
should
becoming
be
an essential. Access to, you shouldn't fail a school class because you couldn't afford fiber internet. Like that's, you know what I mean? So I think that's such a difficult thing.
Yeah.
And I think teachers, teachers are definitely, as always, teachers are the bloody unsung heroes of what's going on.
Yeah.
And the fact that, one of my first worries in the first lockdown, it continues to be a worry for me now, is, the amount of young people who maybe don't have a great home life and are having to work from home, study from home. They might be young carers, they might be in foster care, they might be, having a whole host of problems at home and having to also study at home. And also school is a sanctuary and meant to be like a bit of a refuge for those children. It might be the only hot meal they get. There's so many different things going on there that it does, honestly, I worry so much about them.
Well, you can see that like the whole school dinners thing is the tip of this huge iceberg of what schools have provided for communities and for young people. And that if you are in a house that food insecure house, or you don't have even reliable housing, which some young people find themselves in that place, like there's so much stuff that schools provide that aren't traditional education or aren't the school subjects. And it's also precarious. And do you know what? I'm going to be the first to say it, guys. This pandemic thing, not a fan. What?
I thought this whole podcast was how much we love it.
It's so refreshing to hear that, Lizzie.
Thanks, guys, and I'm so brave.
This is the thing, I think the school experience, it's about socialising, it's about kind of learning who you are as well as getting a full education.
Yeah.
And for me, there's been some really memorable teachers, during the whole thing. And there's been loads of moments that actually I think will stick with me. One of them for me is that my form tutor in sixth form, we all basically got put into various different form groups depending on what you were studying. So I got put in the surprise arty creative group, which is basically everyone doing English literature, drama or music. And we found out that it was our teacher's birthday, so we went and got a cake. We all put a couple quid in, we bought a real fancy pen, bought some balloons, and we in the morning threw a little birthday party, and she started crying and she's like, my own family didn't even do this for me. Oh. And I was just she was the sweetest, kindest lady, and looking back she's probably my age now, but do you know what I mean,
super cute
stuff like that where you kind of, there's moments throughout your school career that you go, that was an actual learning point.
Yeah. So I will say, just as a side note, as the daughter of teachers, if you're buying your teacher presents, like things that can be consumed, chocolate and wine, much more appreciated by the family than stationery and cups that say best teacher. My mum always used to get presents, which was great, and then I'd be like, "Can I eat them?" Like, no, it's frilly notepads that say best teacher. And I'm like, no.
You see, my sister is a teacher, and she loves the stationery gifts. Like, she loves stationery so much. Like, if someone gets a stationery, pretty much. I think that's the part of the interview.
Yeah.
Has
See,
to
a
be.
lot of my friends are teachers, and one of my friends is a teacher at a primary school in London, and the other day, during lockdown 1, we were like a good few months into it. She was like, "I've only just finished the wine that I got for Christmas from all of the parents." I was like, "Bethan, you absolute hero."
Oh. Would you go back?
What, like to visit, or
No,
to
like, would you
wake up tomorrow when you're 11 and you're starting school again?
Yeah, wake up and you can go back and you can spend as long or as little as you want there. Would you go back?
No.
I don't know. I feel
That was
like
really quick.
I feel like I wouldn't recognize. I feel like I don't have bad memories of school, but like
Yeah.
I wouldn't recognize who I was because I've grown since then, and it would be different, and it would be not how I remembered it. I don't know if I'd want to.
Yeah.
If I want to.
I think kind of what Rachel was saying about like you find yourself at school and stuff. I think that really happened for me at uni.
Same.
Yeah.
And who I was at school, I don't think, like if me now met 13-year-old me, I think you'd be like, we're the same person, really?
Yeah.
I think, like, I don't romanticize the school days, but like I think they're better in the past.
Yeah.
I think like this is quite an existential thing, so apologies in advance. I think like I got everything out of that experience that I could, and there's no point going back to like, obviously I know it's not going to happen, it's not real and it couldn't happen, but I don't think there's any point putting myself back into a situation where I can't get anything new out of it. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I think there are things that I would go back and change. There are things that I regret, or there are things that I wish I'd taken advantage of that thing that I didn't do. But then, like those things make you who you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be me now.
Yeah, no, totally. Like looking back at who I was at school, especially in the first few years, like I was a proper weirdo.
And things have changed.
Hey. No, but like I look back. I mean, I'm not surprised I got bullied at all, because I used to do stupid things like during netball, because I was really tall, I was like, oh, I can protect the goal, and then to try and really just sell it, I would pull faces at people to try and put them off.
No one is surprised.
I deserved to get bullied.
You did not. That's really harsh on yourself.
It's true. Also, my school bully still bullies people. So I'm like, that wasn't just me. She's just a nightmare as a person.
She hasn't learned and grown from that experience.
No, I know quite a few people like that myself.
What about you, Sarah? Would you go back?
I don't think I'd go back to relive anything, but I want to go back and say a few things, I think. Like if I could walk in as a teaching assistant and there was like 12-year-old me sat there, I'd love to go over to the table and kneel down and whisper a few things and just be like...
And then get fired for whispering in a 12-year-old's ear.
Is it weird if it's yourself? That's a whole other existential crisis. But I wish I could go back and maybe say a few things, but I wouldn't go back and relive it, I don't think. Like you, Shauna, I feel like I got everything I needed from it, and I've grown, and the person I am now is so different to who I was then. But
and also, let's be honest, who remembers enough about it to go back? And can you imagine sitting in like a year 8 geography class? I don't remember anything about geography.
I should remember colouring in. You're colouring in circles, so you don't get like the scratchy lines. That's all I learned in geography. But my geography teacher was lovely.
Oh, good
my geography teacher, Mr. Jowett, used to eat dog biscuits.
That explains so much.
It really does. He also used to throw things at people's heads.
I think it's really important that you don't go back to that school.
Yeah.
No, because if I could...
important that we make a phone call.
If I could go back, I'd just whisper in my ear, "You're in danger," and then leave.
That would be the creepiest thing to be whispered. This woman came up to me. She said she was me from the future. And she whispered, "You're in danger."
You know what? As much as I'd like to go back and like tell myself a few things and like, "Hey kid, you're gonna be okay," I think there's more things I'd like to say to some of the staff, because some of them did me dirty, and I'm like, no.
Yes.
Let me put you like. I'm a 29-year-old lady. Let me tell you how you.
Or there's things other students like my bullies. I would love to go back as now 27-year-old me, because oh my god, would I put them straight.
I don't think my bullies will ever change. Like, that's just who they fundamentally are as people. I can't help them, they're bad people.
Yeah.
Like, too late for you, see you in hell, bye. Like, but some of the staff, like, some of the things that, like, staff members have said to me, like, looking back now, are appalling.
Yeah.
And that's not a way that you should talk to your students.
When I was in I think it was year 3 or 4. So I was very, very young. Because I was never really good at maths. I've always been good at like English and drama and stuff. But I remember she said to me, like, if I didn't apply myself in maths, I'd never amount to anything. When I was in year 3 or 4, I can't remember. So my mum stormed in and like gave them what for. But like I carried that, and like I think I still do. Like, it's really bizarre. Like, I don't remember it happening, but I still remember like the feeling.
Yeah.
I think that we should just send that teacher some of your budgets and spreadsheets with the numbers, because you're the number girl now.
Guess you can work out a percentage now. But that's where my maths ends. Like, the rest of it is just Excel. But that's working smarter, not harder.
I was also about to say, I definitely remember back when I was at school, they were like, "You're not going to carry a calculator with you wherever you go. You need to learn this." And I'm like, surprise, technology. What was your favourite class at school? And that can be either because of the subject or because of the teacher.
Definitely drama. It was the only thing I was good at. Everything else I was okay at. English, I was pretty good at English and drama. Everything else, math, science, history, geography, I was appalling at. And I think a lot of that was to do with the teachers I had as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked classics. I think that's because everything was just like so bizarre. Like ancient Greek and Roman, like everything is just like so bizarre. And my teacher for that was really great as well, like really supportive, both of them. So I think I almost did classics at uni instead of drama.
Oh.
I don't know if I had a favourite, but I think I liked most. There were things I disliked, but I liked English and drama, and I liked history, and I think again, like, it varies on like whether the teacher you had that year was good, and whether your classmates were like, whether you were in a good like mix of people, or sat at a table where you weren't allowed to move from, and you were on people with idiots that you didn't want to sit with.
Yeah. See, I mean, I always got on with both my drama teachers, and to the point where we all turned up in pretty much the same outfit one day, which is still funny. But I've got a really soft spot for like quite a few of my languages teachers. Half my languages teachers were amazing, and the other half were god awful. Like, it was a proper mix of people. But
I think
Yeah.
I always remember when I went to sixth form. Most people who went to sixth form from my school went to the sixth form that was part of my school. Like that was the sixth form that you progressed to. But I chose to go to a different school, like out of the area, and I went to a sixth form college. And it felt really different, and it felt more grown up, and we were treated differently, and it really changed, I think, my approach to a lot of things because of the way that we were spoken to. And I remember I did English literature for A level, and like before Christmas or something, our teacher was like, "These are the 3 books that I'm considering. Feel free to read them because we want you guys to choose which ones you want to do." And we chose and we voted, and most people voted for one book, a few for the other, and a few for the one that I wanted. And we all sort of assumed, oh, we'll do the book that everyone voted for. And instead, he split the class into 3, and I did a third of my lessons. But I got to do the book that I had chose, because I had read them all over the break. I think most people just Googled them. So I got to read the book that I wanted to read and be in a class where I think it was like only like 3 other students had chosen that book, and that we got to have actual like conversations about it rather than being lost in a pool of people just studying the same book. And I think that level of like trust and respect was a big step, and I think that was a really important thing, I think, for me, in being able to feel part of that conversation and not just like you were just following a curriculum and ticking a box and, you know, memorize this quote and answer this question, which is what it felt like at GCSE. But like actually being able to discuss it, and I think that was a huge I really valued that respect and the fact that we got to make that choice.
Right, ladies, for final remarks, what did you ever do anything at school? What is the most like ridiculous thing you did at school? Like, I feel like you end up doing like either pulling weird excuses to bunk off lessons, or you end up on like mad school trips, or there could be all sorts. What is like the weirdest, wonderful thing you've done at school?
Easy. I was one of those people who made excuses all the time to leave my lessons. And I had a variety of different ailments that I would go to the nurse with. And another yearbook quote from me when I left school was my chemistry teacher, Mrs. Edwards. She wrote, "Sarah, I will miss your trips to the nurse with a variety of ailments. You did worry me that one day when you said you went temporarily blind." And I, in the middle of class, went, "I'm not having this. Miss, I cannot see." She was like, "Somebody just take Sarah to the nurse's office." And then I sat in front of the nurse, and the nurse came up and like rolled her eyes and looked at me directly in my eyes and was like, "Sarah." And I looked to the left and just went, "Yes," and just looked totally away from her. So I was one of those people who would like just make up anything to get out of science. And that was unfortunately one of them. So there you go.
I really want you to try that next time you're at a job where you don't want to do something.
Next time I'm at a rehearsal.
I'm blind.
Next time I'm in a Roaring Girls rehearsal. Lizzie, we need to stop. I'm blind. I can't go on.
I hope by now you'd be a slightly better actor rather than just looking the opposite direction.
I would. I know. What an awful excuse to make. But yeah, I was full of them when I was a kid. I'm full of them now, to be fair.
That's true. Full of something.
I don't think I did anything. Nothing pops to mind.
I think you're underestimating how boring I was.
Yeah. Oh, I was in a school play once. I was one of the bums at the beginning of Little Shop of Horrors. You know when it goes, "That's when you go." That was my only line.
Oh my God, and I bet you sold it.
Shouted it from the top of my... I was only year 7 as well.
Oh.
The responsibility.
I bet you were amazing.
I think that's kind of like the weirdest thing.
I don't know that I did anything weird. I think I was very normal.
Did all your school trips go to plan? Nothing ever exciting happened? You went and had your education.
No, things were always a little wild when we went on music tour.
Oh,
that was more, the escapades of eccentric music teachers and eccentric music students than anything.
Shauna's face then was
than anything
beautiful.
Anything going wrong or being notable, other than entertaining to myself to remember.
Yeah. See, I remember when I was in sixth form doing German, they invited me and my mate Catherine to chaperone the year sevens going to a German Christmas market. So we got on this bus that was loads of year sevens and about 4 members of staff, and then me and Catherine. And all of the teachers got shit-faced. Absolutely smashed on blue vine, on mulled wine, and they were doing karaoke on the bus on the way home. And me and Catherine just stood there like, don't really know what to do now.
It is really telling now that I have friends who are teachers who have been on residential trips and been the responsible adult telling me about the teachers all getting drunk and then having to go into the corridors and quiet the children down and tell them off. And thinking, I never, of course you didn't clock it when you were a young kid, but I was like, think of all the escapades that they got up to. Irresponsible. Big fan.
And on that note, I think we will leave it there for this week. Thank you ever so much, Lizzie, Shauna, Sarah, for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday.